Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what's going on. Okay, there I go. Looks like I was frozen there for a minute. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Tia Rogers, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you to Tia Rogers, Tammy's podcast. We've been talking about becoming better, investing in ourselves, planning for our retirement, and all the other things that are surrounded around that, the social issues, political issues, economic issues and resources, communities versus neighborhoods. We're, we're in pursuit of building sustainable families, and we're trying to contribute to find out how we can help families become better. So um, I've been doing some studying and just going in and finding some information out that was new information to me. So bear with me as I'm learning the information and bringing it to you. Uh, I learned about what is it, Powernomics, and Dr. Claude, what's his name? Dr. Claude Anderson. He's the author of the book Powernomics, and I heard of him through Boyce Watkins page. I follow him, and I been kind of following, trying trying to learn more about how to empower myself so that I can also become well informed to empower others. Uh, and he talks a lot about, coming together as a unit of, as Black people, to create our own communities and resources and businesses, which is not a bad idea. And I think it's something that's been going on for a while. I feel like I am kind of a day late and a dollar short coming up on the information, but uh, still in all, I'm blessed to have had the information. So I just want to read a little something that I prepared for you all today to help keep me focused on this topic as I'm trying to bridge the gap from the awareness series as we're moving into the next portion of awareness. And we talk about mindset health and, oh, I forgot. And I don't have that paper with me right now. But anyway, my apologies. Thank you for bearing with me, and thank you all for being with me thus far. I so appreciate you. People can say what they want, finding out the truth or discovering your truth. I believe Miss Tanya May Events article in the guidepost titled A Child of God. And I think I did bring the post with me. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. Wait a minute. Because with the, all right, it's a little, you can see a little bit of it, not all of it. Not with this darn virtual background. It's hard to see the article, but this is the guidepost. If I hold that way, and then maybe if I go this way. There it is. A Child of God, the article. Very good article. Um, if you get a chance to pick it up, read it. Very refreshing and answers a lot of questions that I could say myself as an African American uh, discovered it later on in life. I think I shared that story of how I took a course that required me to do a genealogram, a genealogram of my family, which was the same question. We ended up with the same, trying to answer the same question. And that question was, where does your family come from? And many of us can admit tracing our ancestry for most will stop in the South. Some are able to trace their family back to the motherland, but the journey has a lot of cutoffs and add-ons, really describes a journey of the family, marriages, divorces, or sale of spouse, son, daughter, etc. We live in a country that operates from cons- constitution, policy, and laws. My early writing expressed that those who are elected officials and government positions go back and take a look at and address and make changes to the article in the We the People Declaration of the Constitution that states three fifths of a person. If you visited Tammy's dot shop, you could take a minute and read the article's blog. This journey has been nothing but amazing. The whole roller coaster ride called life. Along the journey, one can have many mentors, coaches, teachers, and whom we as individuals deem a leader. All throughout life, you are consistently learning and unlearning, only to relearn just how powerful you are and what you're capable of and can actually accomplish in our lives. Despite the 19, despite the 1789, We the People that describes a group of people as indebted, in bondage, property, three-fifths of a being, equal to a field animal, leaving them no rights as a group of people. Somehow, they, they seem to still make it through. We make it through, no matter what challenges, no matter how others want to describe us. Due to the lack of knowledge of history, except slavery, not saying that progression of a group of the people doesn't go unnoticed, but slavery roots are so deep and bloody that anyone that gets close to even remotely getting to the root to snip it isn't here to speak on it. Yet they were able to write about it for years after they are gone to provide us a roadmap to carry on beyond where they were able to be for us to carry on beyond where they were able to get with it. Even if it takes disproving, 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 or not agreeing with their their myth, words, or approach to addressing the correcting of equality, restitution of a group of people that are clearly still unprotected and suffer the generational curses. Good morning. Generational curses that come with your birthright. I want to distinguish the difference of private property versus public property, which is owned by a state entity, and from a collective and a cooperative property, which is owned by a group of non-governmental entities. When you look at the rewards of our food, we'll realize it does not come for the seeding. Now, what I have learned is that there's a group of people that have 0.5% of the 1% of, of the nation's wealth and power in the areas of social economic resources. Going back to the We the People USA Constitution, through learning, I've discovered the 13th, 15th, and 16th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th is the second amendments, is considered a second constitution. So that's, I guess, in two words with all the amendments that they had. Um, It broke it down to where it's two. That was news to me. Um, Now I went back to go over the Constitution for myself. I have to admit, I seen the amendments 13, 14, 15, but lack the knowledge of what it all really means. Left me with a question mark, which is why when it goes to get addressed, no one addresses it because they don't get it either. Or it's like many things I've learned in life. It's not important because it only affects those who are part of the 1/2% of wealth and power. It's proving that a group of people have three options in their life, and they are according to Dr. Claude Anderson, author. Dr. Claude Anderson, author, who is the author of Powernomics, the National Plan to Empower Black America, Black Labor, White Wealth, The Search for Power and Economics Justice, Dirty Little Secrets About Black History, Its Heroes and Other Troublemakers, a Black History Reader 101, question, questions you never thought to ask. Please pick those books up. Pick those books up if you are interested in learning more. It's a very interesting topic and it's so in depth. It takes some time. You have to study on it and make sure that you know what you're talking about and you understand. Um, Now, have I not had the opportunity to? Now, I have not had the opportunity to read them all. However, I have been following his work on YouTube while I work toward the book orders. The rewards of the art of investing. Share real life stories. Who's okay? All right. Okay, all right. I can't even read my own notes, y'all. I wrote this out because it was important. If there's a group of people that has 1/2 of the 1% of the nation's wealth, how can we increase that percentage? And it's not like we're not doing it. I think it's improving, I guess, when they go back and look over time, because I'm not sure around what time Powernomics was written, but Dr. Anderson is he's our elder and he comes with a lot of wisdom and knowledge. So his information may have differed by now. I don't know. I have to do the research and inquire more to get it. But when you look at it overall, from no, knowing who you are, where you come from, is a big part. And a lot of us struggle with that. We can always, well, I can only speak for my experience, and all I can say is that I know that it's a melting pot. I can look at my family, and I have different nationalities. We are all different. Uh, what is it called? Not We're not different races, but we're all different shades. We're different nationalities, so it's not really a big thing. And it's not to say that you don't want to be black. It just means that our black is multicultural, and how do we come together as a people to make it work for all? From listening to a lot of different information on trying to stay abreast of different things that's going on in the world and looking at where we are generationally. And I took a moment to jot down the different generations. I didn't even know it was all these different names for the generations. But I'm going to go over them and then I'll share a story with you. I'll go over the generations, and I'll share a story with you uh, that was shared with me. All right. Okay. The traditionalist or silent generation was born between 1945 and before. So I guess that was my grandma's era. Then there's the generation of the baby boomers, and they have them pegged from 1946 to 1964. Then we have Generation X, which is born between 1965 to 1976. Then we have the millennials, Generation Y, X, and Z. And then there's an iGen, or they call them centennials. This group is born between 1977 to 1995. And the, what is it, from 1996 to 2015 is the Generation Alpha. And that's going to be all the way up to 2025, which is not that far away, guys. But I saw that, I said, wow, all these different generations, and the generations just represent that that a group of people that share same characteristics, preferences, values over a lifetime. You know, they have consistent level genetics. They have a way of they have a certain way of communication. They have certain shopping habits, and they have different things that motivate them and shape each generation's leads to new discoveries. Each generation leads to a new discovery, a trend, and a truth through generations. And speaking of, going over the Constitution, how it's written up, and now discovering that there's two constitutions, and um, knowing that there are certain nationalities and groups that have a protected status, but those that classify as Black, um, non-immigrant, uh, I forget the other word that he used, but they were very interesting. I was like, oh, okay. Because we're some of us are still looking for the Black man. You know, depending upon who you talk to, some don't want to be called Black. I don't know. I myself just am happy to be alive and be God's child. Like Miss Tanya May Anvin's article states, our parents and their parents may not be able to tell us and decipher, where the lineage, how far back your roots go to. And when you come across that challenge, because we have to socialize, we are in the world, we're a part of the world, and we come across people that, may have the privilege to know their nationality. They may have the privilege to know where their roots come from. And that's all well and dandy. But for those of us that may not necessarily have a root base or origin, except for these lands here in the great US of A. To narrow it down, it simplifies it because God created all of us. He wakes us up every morning, gives us breath in our body and life to get up and accomplish whatever we want. Despite what is written in the Constitution, despite what challenges and struggles as a people and peoples may go through, they're still overcomers. They're still achievers. And how is that? Where does that come from? It comes from individuals coming together, having like minds, similar interests, and a certain motive to contribute and make this world better, to uh, ensure that the next generation will be in a better position, um, able to have more opportunities. And I can say that over time, uh, there's plenty more opportunities. But what I'm noticing now is that we're slowly but surely shifting. We go to work, we have our norms, but even the workplace is changing. We're doing the remote working. Um, we're doing, our best to still service populations, keep everyone safe and sound. I don't think we'll ever go back to quote unquote normal, but my concern is, how do we counteract and help others that may fall underneath the group that is handling disparities? How can we help them? Is it education? Um, is it providing them the tools that they need to get from where they are to where they would like to be? Do we even know where they like to be? Are they happy and okay with where they are in life? Um, these are questions that we don't know. And the only way to know is to have a conversation with someone. And meeting different people, having the pleasure to interact, socialize, meet with other people in other arenas, um, and having some conversation. For the most part, everyone wants to do better. Everyone wants something better for them, for their lives, for their families. Um, they may not know exactly how to go about achieving it, or what steps to do it. And some just go on and figure it out. I'm a firm believer that in making a decision, once you decide, once you figure out who you are and what do you want out of life, and you make the decision to go for it, it's like fire shut up in your bones. It You just don't stop until you achieve what you're going after. And it doesn't matter what hurdles or obstacles or challenges that may come along the way. Which refers me back to the example of the Constitution that I gave, the descriptions of how they described a people at that time, and to point out that uh, it didn't, it has its effects. It really does have its effects on a people psychologically, uh, and psychologically, as well as socially, economically, um, and it impedes how we uh, grow, how we trust one another, how we get along. And I'm not one to really listen to the news and all that stuff, but I happened to catch the news this week, and well, actually, someone was talking about it, really, and then I happened to catch it on the news. I think the following day, but it was just discouraging. It leaves me wondering, like, what is the world coming to if our young people don't appreciate and respect our elders? One, it's like a loaded gun, this whole situation, because there's so many conversations that can be had surrounding about it. It's so many different dynamics, and it's real family dynamics, things that we deal with as families, raising our children, hoping that our children abide by our rules and do what they need to do, um, and not go out and harm people. But the sad part for me was that it's crazy that, you know, you made such a choice at a young age when you had an option to choose better. But you had a choice. You were home and you chose to leave home to go do harm to someone else. And now your life is impeded because now it's like a vicious cycle. We're back into the incarceration system of our youth, and this is juvenile. How do we save our babies? How do we help our babies make better choices and decisions? Who's at fault? Who's at blame? Uh, it's really hard to, point the finger to see who's at blame because everybody plays a part. Everybody plays a part. But most importantly, those children made a clear decision to do what they did. And that's the scary part. Out of all the choices you could have made better choices. But now we got to save the babies. We got to look after the babies. We got to make sure that they receive whatever consequences for their actions that they receive. But we need to build these babies up, and I call them babies because they are babies. What they did was horrendous, but it's only, to me, it's like a hidden sign cry for help. Our children are crying out for help. Are we missing signs in our household? Are we not taking notice of our communities? And I tell you, it bothers my brain because one morning I got up to go to work. On my way to work, I'm driving, and I see the police officers out. Here we have someone, it was a body. A person had passed away over there. I don't know the circumstances of whatever, but um, if you're familiar with the area where I live, you kind of know what some of the ills are in the area. And it just puzzled me that like this is my view on my way to work. You know what I mean? Every morning, um, you have the option to go other ways, but no matter where you go, you're gonna come across something. Maybe not as bad as that, but so I have to take other ways to go to work because you want to have a positive frame of mind going in. That's why we talk about mindset, our environment, um, health and well-being, but it impacts us as individuals and families and our communities. And that incident was the perfect example of how just in a blink of an eye something can go wrong. And how do we correct that? I don't know if that's as easy as like education or if it's going to require a little more. That's probably going to require a little bit more when it comes down to real family dynamics because you have to look at the whole everything. You have to look at the psychosocial assessment of the entire family and the children involved, as well as find out what was the what was the purpose of it all. What was the purpose? But it was just a sad occasion. Oh God, what did I do? A sad occasion to hear that and have that even going on today as we're working to build sustainable families, teaching them how to better manage their finances, build their financial portfolios so that they can be better situated in the future. When you have things such as that, it counts against the grain because all I can think about is the attorney's costs that the parents are going to encounter, different services that are going to have to be in place um, to help these children, as well as the facility in which they're placed. Is it safe? Is it being ran properly? Are they going to get what they need to get while they're there? And juvenile justice has a little place in my heart um, because of my background and dealing with youth and having the experience to work in and out of group home settings and uh, corrections and working with them. And a lot of them are really bright, but they're afraid for some reason. They're afraid to take responsibility for their life and make a decision to do the right thing that is going to put them in a better place as they go older. As they grow older. I don't know, did we all have that block coming up? Well, I know when I was younger, I didn't really think too much. You know, you live at home with your parents. Life is great. You don't really have too many worries because you're not paying bills because you're living home. It depends upon the age. That depends on the age. Um, but still in all, life is pretty good when you are young, when you live at home. You don't have a lot of cares. All you can think about and imagine is the kind of life that you want to have when you grow up. But it saddens me because it's like, do our children have dreams? Are they dreaming? Where did we kill their motivation? Where did we go wrong? And I say this because I had a conversation with one of a close family member. We were all together um, over the weekend, and we were talking about the different generations, the difference in the communities versus the city, and outside of the city, the suburbs. Talking about how many uh, liquor stores, bars are on the corners or in the neighborhoods of our communities, and the difference with although other communities may not have as many liquor stores and bars in their community, they have other elements of pornography um, and things of that nature in their community. So it goes to show that no matter what community you live in, there's some type of risk factor or something there that we need to be aware of to keep our children safe. Um, we were also talking about different generations. That basically, uh, it was stated like this, that my generation was the downfall of the the generation that we gave birth to. Not so much the downfall, but misinformation. There was a lot going on in those eras. And we talked about the different things in place, what the war on drugs. We talked about that and the whole dynamics behind the war on drugs um, when it was in place. However, at that time, I think we had a lot of high drug usage. I think that was around the time when uh, crack cocaine came into the picture, and we had a high rise in AIDS awareness. So we were tackling drugs, AIDS awareness, as well as teen pregnancy during that era. And somewhere our children are looking at us and saying, "We dropped the ball. We dropped the ball in properly sustaining them to achieve at their level in which they are." And we also talked about how, well, my point in the whole conversation was, I took the blame for maybe uh, for being a generation that was lack of information and uh, had the activities that took place that caused a lot of situations, different breakdowns in the family. And then my question was, but at what point do we take responsibility for ourselves, including you all? It's the decisions that you make and learning how to manage your money and what are you doing with your money. And it was counter, well, it was as the conversation was going, it was like, yeah, and then we could see how different people in the family had better money management and saw how they, I'm sorry, something's biting me, how they were able to accomplish so much more because they were more uh, frugal with their money. They were good savers, and they knew what to invest their money into to help better position themselves so that now you figured it at when they were younger teenagers years, and now they're grown men and women with their own families. They set themselves up pretty well to where they can live pretty good, purchase a home, um, have a car, work their job, raise their family, do all the things that they want to do, vacation. But that takes money management and planning, knowing how to make things work for you. And we looked at how the different perspectives of when someone is going for higher education. Um, because everybody's not down with going to school, and that's cool. But those of us that are, and most of us that like to go to schools because we want to explore, we're curious, we want to learn something new. Um, and once you learn something, you're a continual learner. That's my belief. However, we were talking about um, the two different perspectives of going to school. One person may go to college, go to school, and with the mindset of I'm going here to learn the skills that I need to learn to get a job. The other person may go to the school or the college with the mindset that I I'm coming here to start my career. So there's two different perspectives. Some people look for jobs and some people look for careers. And which one is the most beneficial? I guess it's dependent upon the individual. But from the conversation, we got to talking and we were just saying how a career pans out a whole lot better because it's something that you want to do. It's something that's your passion, your calling, something that you would do even if you didn't get paid for it. Um, because you love it just that much, enough to learn about it and do what you need to do to make it a fruition in your life. And it was just a very interesting take. This is like the second conversation I've had with the kids now that they have been gotten older, different sets of them, and getting their perspective and feedback back. So my question is, guys, our children, uh, they're not mad at us, but they just know that it was a setup from the door for some of us, um, and it was no way to get around it, and we fell prey to a lot of things. But how do we turn that around? It's all with a choice, and I know it's easier said than done. It's not that easy, and anyone that's ever battled um, addiction of any sort, because addictions come and there's an array of addictions. I believe I did either a live or a video. It's a video or something out there that I did going over um, addiction and the different types of addiction. But at some point, where do we begin to start bridging the gap so that the generation that follows under us, and it's so funny because our children are blaming us, and what are their children going to say when they come up? You got to look at your life and see, where am I at now? Where do I want to be 5, 10 years from now? Especially starting out as a new parent. Sorry guys, I'm in the park. I wanted to come out and just hang out and hear some birds. This one, I needed to touch nature. Um, Setting goals for your life. Whether you're starting your own life, going out, branching on your own, separating from your parents, um, starting a new life for yourself, or getting married, starting a family. All of this takes planning, and you need to plan for the long term. It's good to learn what are the things that you can invest your money in that is going to help you to sustain down the line, because rewards of our fruits we have to seed first. So we're always planting. Sometimes it's just regular conversation. Sometimes it's a formal uh, webinar lecture session. And however you're getting the information, what are you doing with it? Are you applying some of it into your life? Have you looked in to see uh, what's the best what's the best route for you? And are you going to have to learn about what it is that you're investing in? I say yes, 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 and yes to everything. Because life is about learning. You should learn something every day about life. Uh, Waking up every morning with an attitude of gratitude that you're still here. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. And it's, it's how we use our time that makes the difference. You actually can get a lot accomplished, really, throughout a day. Sometimes you have to remind yourself, set the alarm so that you can go to bed uh, on at a decent hour so that you'll be rested, because rest is very important. It's been an amazing journey, and I don't regret not one thing. I am who I am, and all I can be is her. All I can be is me. And I just want to do my best to help the next person along. And a lot of times we want to know what that helps look like, right? We want to know how we helping them, who we helping. You don't know that part. You can try, you can talk to different people, but in the scheme of things, somehow you really don't know that part. That's the part that's the unknown. But if you get yourself in alignment, get yourself focused, find out what your interests, what your passions are, and go for it. What does your life look like? What do you want your life to look like? Are you living the life that you want to live? I have to admit, I'm living a life I want to live. I have no regrets. Um, the struggle's real. um, but self discovery is the greatest thing ever. I've learned that I can stretch myself beyond my comfort zone. Being uncomfortable, being uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Sorry, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. But should you decide to take the beginning steps of your life to bring about change in your life, I'm here to say congratulations to you for bettering you. I'm here to say stay focused, don't give up, continue your pursuit. Bumps, obstacles, pitfalls may come along the way, but work through them. Develop your relationship with God, and He will guide your path. That's my time, guys. Have a wonderful, blessed, amazing week. Go out there and make your dreams happen. Only you can. Take care.